Combining like terms in a distributive property. So these are two very common things that we're going to do throughout mathematics from now and really forever. It always comes up, and it's the distributive property of multiplication over addition. It's the distributive property is a form of multiplication. Combining like terms is a form of addition. So let's look at something like this. So first thing here is this is all subtraction and addition. The difference is the terms. So I have a negative 3x and a 6x, those are alike. So those are my like terms. So I can only combine them when they have the same variable with the same exponent. So just to change the order and group them, basically, now I'm going to add these together and these together. And I went ahead and added the opposite for both of those just to make the actual combining a little easier. I get negative 9x minus 6. Right? So put them next to each other, the ones that are alike. As you move along, you don't have to do all these steps. You can kind of jump right into it. So same thing here, I got a 9, that goes to the 12, the 15, and the x's, I got a 1x, a negative 7, and another 1x. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in order. I see I put a 1 there just to kind of re-emphasize that I got 1x, okay? Anywhere that I had to add the opposite, so right here I did plus negative 7, and I changed this to plus negative 12, just to make the combining easier again. So I get 1, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and add these first two together, then I'm going to add these two together. Right, and I went ahead and combined these two at the same time, negative 12 and 9, because right, they're alike. And that's what I end with when I combine these last two, and then the 15 and the negative 3. Now we added another element. We have a power. So just so we see this, so the x squared is a term. It is not alike with this negative 2x. So this 5x squared goes with this positive 4x squared. So they got to be the same variable with the same power to be considered alike. So I'm going to rearrange these in order. So the negative 2 and the negative 6x go together. The negative 10 and the 7 go together. So I'm going to combine these two, and then those two. Went ahead and add the opposite right here, just like I said, make it a little easier on myself. And I get 9 and 4 is 9x squared, negative 2, negative 6 is negative 8, and negative 10 and 7 is negative 3. Once again, fine. So this first term has a cube. This has a squared, so they don't go together. Okay, the only ones that are alike is the 6x negative and the 5x negative. Right? So these two are just going to stay there. These two will combine right here. All right? And that's what I get right there. All right, nothing else is alike. So now let's start looking at the distributive property. So the distributive property is multiplication. If you remember your order of operations, you're going to multiply before you add. So combining like terms is adding. Distribution is multiplication. So if you have both or potential for both, you want to distribute first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this negative 3. And it goes to both terms. It gets multiplied right here to the negative 6, and it gets multiplied to the 5, the negative 5. And it's a negative 3, not a positive 3. So that's why the sign switched. Now the 15 and the 8 are alike. Put those next to each other, and I can combine those two. All right. So here, I'm going to multiply by this negative, which is really like a negative 1. So it gets multiplied right here. That's a negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative times a negative is a positive. All right. So in this case, I have a fraction. It's kind of annoying, but this is not too bad of a problem. And then I have another negative right here that needs to be distributed. So I'm going to distribute right here, and then I'll distribute right here. So I have two sets of distribution. So when I do this, think of this as like being over 1 and the 36 like being over 1. So it's going to be 1 times 12, and that goes on top, and then 1 times 36, that goes on top, and then that becomes a negative, and that becomes a positive. These are going to reduce. 12 divided by 4, 36 divided by 4. Now I'll go ahead and put them in order. The negative 7 and the 3 go together as alike, and the negative 9 and the 6. Add the opposite for both of those, and I get negative 4 and negative 3.